Good afternoon. I want those of you who are upstairs and those of you who are downstairs who might not feel like you are quite as present with me, I am present with you right where you are. So there is no way for you to feel left out. Well, old faces, new faces. I greet you all, and I'm glad to be with you in this way. Who has a question?
First of all, Raj, I'd like to thank you for the last 2 mailings that you sent out. They empowered me very much. And I want to thank you, Paul, and Susan for being a mentor and paving the way. 3 things are on my mind right now. I would like to retire, but I don't know if it's time. That's one of the questions. The other one is...
Testing. Testing. I am going to encourage you not to rush it.
Okay.
I will also tell you that you could do it tomorrow. You don't need to do it tomorrow. But if you did it tomorrow, it would be within the order of things. Now, what does this mean? It means that you can do it at your leisure, without any sense of tension or concern about it. You can wait for it to feel absolutely perfectly right for you, because you could do it right now and it would be right. You could do it right now and not be at a disadvantage. But it's important for you not to do it decisively, willfully. I truly encourage you to just wait until it feels perfectly right. There's no rush.
Thank you. That's excellent. It's what I wanted to hear.
You're welcome.
And could you tell me when John will be moving out?
John being?
My husband.
No. Because it isn't set in concrete. I cannot give you a specific day.
A time frame?
Roughly within 4 months. Roughly.
Is this time period for working for the good of both of us concerned?
Absolutely.
So there's still work that needs to be done within the relationship?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And the underlying key of the work that needs to be done is the emergence of greater harmony Because there's absolutely no need for there to be any inharmony in this divergence. No one's right and no one's wrong. No one's winning, no one's losing.
Thank you. And do I need to sell my house to retire?
Do you?
That's what I'm asking you. It feels like that's my source of money. But that's a feeling. I know that's not the truth.
You are quite correct. It's not. And it's not the time to consider the sale of the house.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And in the back row, if you'll raise your hand so she knows who to bring it to.
Thank you, Raj, and good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We've been waiting for this day to come, and here it is. Certainly enjoy your wonderful atmosphere here. This question may be a little offensive to some, so I'll be very careful not to belabor it, and you can help me out by maybe delaying the answer until another time. I've been giving anesthesia now for 25 years, and part of my practice requires an occasional termination of pregnancy choices for women, and that's increasing more and more. And I was wondering if you could give me some light on that topic. Should I participate more and more?
A moral issue. The answer is yes, you should. It is not your prerogative to decide for another whether she is doing right or wrong. As they say, that is between her and her maker. There are never any accidents. And that child whose life apparently is terminated is not an innocent victim. Divine love always has met and always will meet every human need. And it always meets the human need in the language that means something to the one whose need is being met. And sometimes what meets the need does not correspond to morality. You cannot take away a woman's right to do whatever she needs to do, whether in the judgment of others she is acting ignorantly or not. As a man, and this really boils down to a sexist issue, as a man, you would not hesitate to do whatever you needed to do. And I'm talking about your responding at a very basic level of need. And in doing what you needed to do, you would not expect another to have the arrogance to tell you that you ought not to do it. As a man, you would feel your right to do it. If you wished to have a vasectomy, you would not assume that anyone else had the right to tell you you ought not to do that, because you're interfering with the process of procreation which was set into motion by God, and therefore you are affronting and stifling the very creative process of God. And you would do it without guilt and without buying into the idea that someone else could actually have a valid opinion that ought to override your decision. Now, extend that same courtesy to women. Now, there are many abortions that are the result of thoughtlessness, carelessness, and I am not in support of ending life. Whether it's a wasp that you catch in a glass and take outside your house rather than killing it, or whether it's allowing the completion of a pregnancy and putting the child out for adoption. Or whether under some circumstance you do actually squash the wasp because the circumstance seems to call for it, or you are simply at a point of frustration in your life that taking the time to take the wasp out is not workable for you. What I'm trying to point out is that not a single one of you is really in any position to judge the action of another. But you are in the position of giving everyone the benefit of the doubt. And you have not the right to verbally express your judgment of another to make them feel guilty, when what is needed always is the willingness to recognize their divinity and love them right in the midst of an action that they can see no alternative to, and which their best judgment, no matter how poor it is, calls for them to act upon. If you do not provide the anesthesia, if the doctor who you work with decides not to perform an abortion, the one feeling the need for an abortion will go wherever she can get it. And it is better for the procedure to be done where it is safe and where good quality care is being provided than to go to somebody who will use a coat hanger and do it in unclean situations. Be careful of arrogant self-righteousness, even if it seems to be in the name of God and all that is righteous and all that is good. Meet that person where she is and provide the love that helps promote a feeling of worth and safety, which will allow her to do better in the future and perhaps make different choices. All of you do stupid things because you're not awake and you believe that you are just a body or just an organism or just a human being, and that you have no right to any better experience than the one you're having, or at least you can't conceive of how to have a better experience. And so you make stupid choices based on ignorance. And I could sit here and I could point out your faults. And I could tell you what you did wrong, and you could all leave here feeling miserable. And if you're really a religious zealot, you might say, thank God Raj told me all the things that were wrong with me, because at least I was connected with an experience of divinity. And that's asinine. What every single one of you needs is the constant reassurance that you're not just a body, that you're not just a human being, that you didn't come from a sperm and an egg, and that your birthright is far greater than anything you imagine. You need that assurance over and over and over again. And you need encouragement to exercise as much curiosity as possible about the impossible, so that you don't stay locked into your tiny, boxed-in sense of who and what you are. And so it's foolish to sit here and chastise you for your mistakes, because all that will do will be to confirm the box you're in, and it will not inspire you to reach beyond your present sense of things. Love each other. If you're in an operating room where anesthesia is being provided because you're getting an abortion, just as you would extend love and support to somebody who was diseased, experiencing a disease. All of you at every single point need to be inspired to be right where you are and to dare to take the next step. And to know that you're loved while you're doing these stupid things. You're loved in spite of doing things out of ignorance. And that the reason you are loved is not only because you're lovable, truly, but because in being loved, those who love you know that it will provide the groundwork for your further expansion as the borders of your tents are being enlarged, as your experience is being expanded, and as impossible things begin to be recognized as possible and they happen. I've said it before, all of you are always on your leading edge, where the next step is an expansive step that takes you beyond the limits that you're currently experiencing. Now, to stand and look at someone and say that their leading edge is more stupid than yours, or more inappropriate than yours, or less moral than yours, is nothing but stupid arrogance. And it's not love. By somebody's standard, your very spiritual leading edge is a pretty ignorant one. By somebody who is, quote, much further along than you. Leading edges have the same characteristics no matter how far along you are. They are as scary as hell. And it takes trust to move beyond them. And it's always trust you don't yet have. And so you're all in exactly the same boat, and you need to be loving each other for being in that very same boat. Daring to love each other that way is what will be transformational. But to ask yourself, well, I don't really know whether I ought to provide the anesthesiology or not. Well, you know, I don't know whether I should really let this person who's being really obnoxious, I don't really know whether I should continue to be friendly. Or is this a place where I don't override my integrity and I say, stop it, asshole? See, I said, stop it. Asshole. It was the last word that made it judgmental and wrong. To say stop is one thing. The answer, as basic as it is and as repetitious as I am about it, and as repetitious as the message has been down through the centuries, the answer is love. Not self-righteous, uppity judgment. It's love that embraces and might say, in the future, I realize you probably will do things differently than you did in order to get yourself into this delivery room, into this operating room. But you know what? I'm where I am because of some stupid choices. So we're both in the same boat, and I appreciate and love you and support you in what you feel you need to do here as much as I would want somebody else to support me in doing what I need to do in my life. You're safe with me. You're safe in the world. And you can dare to be true to your best sense of what is right for you. And in knowing that you're safe to do that, you can be more at peace, and the result of being more at peace is likely to be better choices in the future. I love you. And of course, you will not tell the lady in the operating room that you love her, but you will be loving her by not wondering whether you ought to be doing what you're doing under that circumstance. It is so important for each of you to find your capacity to love under the most unlovely circumstances. because that's where the love is needed. And the unlovely circumstances happen because love was absent. Love was not given. Love was not received. But that's where it's needed. Does that answer your question?
You did a beautiful job. That's the answer I've always had in my heart. It's the most compassionate thing we can do. And that's been my answer all along. And I thank you for your answer.
You're welcome. I am not pro-women's rights, and I'm not pro-life. Within the human concept of what those words mean, I am obviously pro-life, because life is all there actually is. And as you wake up, you will find that terminations of life, whether they are suicide, natural causes, or abortions, never actually happened. And there never was a termination of life at any point. But it is so important not to take spiritual principles and use them to herd people into certain behaviors, acceptable behaviors that have been set up through conceptual thinking. God's answer is always an answer to each one of you, not to all of you as a group. Because each one of you has specific needs which are created by your specific ignorances of the truth. And so God's answer, the answer that is truth for you, will specifically address your particular idiosyncrasies associated with the way you perceive your world, because that's what will undo the idiosyncrasies that keep you bound. So God's answer to one woman may be, by all means have the abortion. And to another lady will be, don't you dare have an abortion. It is not appropriate for you. But it will be because that is what specifically contributes to that woman's point of boundary breaking and healing. It will always be specific, and no flat-out answer can be applied to everyone. The morality of the answer comes into how directly it relates to the threshold the individual is on in terms of their breakthrough. That's where the morality comes in. I'm not staring at you because you don't know this, but you asked the question and I am responding to you. My answers to Paul are sometimes different from my answers to Susan, because their thresholds are different. And what is appropriate for one is not appropriate for the other. And it's the same way with every single one of you. Divine love meets your need right where you are in the language of your present perception of things. If love is the underlying factor in the delivery of truth, then it's not only going to address your ignorance and move you beyond it, it's going to obviously allow you to feel safe and loved and not alone.